This is Lola Laracy with Craft Beer Nation. We are here with some of the loveliest ladies that I have the pleasure of knowing. We're doing Girls Pint In tonight. We're going to talk about podcasts that we listen to. We're joined by Ashley Bauer, Kristen Zutza, Victoria Perigin. We're going to start with Ashley. Ashley, go ahead and talk about the podcast you want to spotlight and whatever information you want to give.
Okay. Well, I've been listening to the Brewing Network for the past couple years. They have been around since 2009, and you can find them at thebrewingnetwork.com. They do a variety of shows. They do what's called the Sunday Session, and that was their first show that they came out with in 2005. They have since went along to go out with the Jamil Show, Brew Strong, Dr. Homebrew, and the lunch session. So the first one, the session, which is on Sundays, which is why I often call it the Sunday Session, it's a 3-hour show, and it has about 6 or so, give or take a person, moderators, kind of like our show.
Okay.
And they talk about craft beer, they talk about home brewing, they do interviews and spotlights with different breweries and people in the brewing community. I really enjoy it, but 3 hours is really hard for me to get in. Most of my trips out, when I'm driving are about an hour and 10 minutes. So that's where I like to listen to Brew Strong, which is the science of home brewing. And so they dig in on different topics from water chemistry to how different malts, the pH can affect the brew, to different hop profiles and just general questions that homebrewers have, and going kind of a little bit deeper than this is how you do it to why things are done the way they are. The Jamil Show is another good one for homebrewers. They talk about how to brew specific styles and what you should look for when you're building a recipe, and what, ABV you're going to hit, what IBUs you want to hit, that sort of thing. Those are the 3 main ones I've personally listened to, but I love listening to them in my car on the way to my Fort Mill accounts.
Woo! If you gotta be on the road, you might as well enjoy it, right?
Exactly. So I get to get in about two podcasts every 3 weeks.
Okay. Do you download them through like iTunes or a podcatcher? How do you get them?
Well, I am on this antiquated iPhone 4 because I am a hipster, and it is trendy to go with old technology.
Oh. Or, like me, you're too cheap to buy the newest thing, and I'll hold on to my phone until it dies or my mother needs it.
You're planet.
All right.
So they actually have a web link on their page, the Brew Network, and I can just hit the little download button, and it goes right to my phone and streams via, I guess, QuickTime.
Mm-hmm.
It's super convenient. And I stream it the whole way up, I stream it the whole way back.
You don't lose connectivity?
I don't. Thankfully,
amazing.
Even with some of the spotty areas, it still manages to keep up, and the whole way I get to listen to it, so...
Yeah, I like to download podcasts because even if I'm like just near my home, I seem to always lose connectivity.
Well, my iTunes no longer works.
Oh.
I can't get any new apps.
Oh no.
So, thankfully, this way does work.
All right. Well, at least you got a workaround.
That's right.
So I learned the hard way that you can't rely on streaming when I went skiing and there was no data to be had anywhere on the mountain. And I was like, oh, I'll listen to all the streaming music and I'll, just download stuff while I'm like on the chairlift and it'll be fine. So it can be important to have the ability to actually put information on your little device.
Yes, I think I might upgrade to an iPhone 5 one day and make that happen.
It might be time. Yeah. I always upgrade right around when I hit that 2-year mark, and they'll pay for most of it.
That's true.
That's when I upgrade. I'm like, okay, they said I can get a new phone. I'll get a new phone.
Right.
I upgrade when something breaks.
That's a good way to do it, when you can't use it anymore.
Yeah.
Ashley, what are you drinking?
I have a Maduro Brown from Cigar City.
Cigar City is the best.
Yes.
Sorry. I love Cigar City.
Someone brought it back for me from Florida, so I get to enjoy it. It's a wonderful brown ale.
Nice.
I like the hints of chocolate and just a little note of happiness.
Nice.
Yummy.
Yeah, they're homegrown for me. They're Florida, and they're just one of the best. I just love them.
I agree.
All right, Ashley, is that all you wanted to say? Anything else?
No, I think that's it for now.
All right, Kristen, go ahead and talk about what you want to talk about, and just give us some idea about the podcast.
All right. Well, first, because we do this. This was my beer, but because it's getting close to bedtime, I'm not gonna drink. It's all done. I'm not gonna open a second one. So this is the St. George Brewing Company out of Hampton, Virginia.
Oh, cool.
Wow.
And it was quite nice. So I took advantage of a whole new selection when we were visiting the state of Virginia a couple of weeks ago. So
Cool.
so it was good. But as far as my podcast, I have been listening to Basic Brewing, which is I don't actually know the guy's name. I never pay attention when he says it. But it is a really good podcast that explains the basics of brewing, shockingly. And I don't homebrew, but I like knowing about beer. That's why I have the Beer Geek Tuesday questions, and it's sort of in the same vein as that. He takes sort of a very focused, simple area and sort of looks more at it. So some of the ones that I have been enjoying is that they're looking at how hoppiness gets into beers. So, and I'm not quite sure what all these words mean, but mash sparging versus
Batch sparging. Flat sparging.
No, sparge hop, mash hopping, something. I don't know all the words.
Dry hopping.
Brew. Yeah, something. But so they're actually looking, and they got some of the guys from Bell's to run numbers and figure out how many IBUs were actually in the beer as a result of different techniques. And I just think that's kind of cool.
That is
so
cool.
It's fun to listen to, and I sort of absorb little bits of information, but clearly not enough of it to actually be useful. But it's good, it's accessible. He welcomes questions and emails, so if there's something you want to know because you're new to brewing, or it sounds like if you're advanced to brewing and want to know more, he welcomes it. And it seems like if you go to Google and you ask about basic brewing, you will connect with him on Twitter and Facebook and Google Plus and the interwebs and his podcast and his YouTube channel. And he has a very soothing voice. So it's very nice to listen to, kind of relax to. So I'm, on the treadmill at the gym and listening to this very soothing voice talk to me about beer.
I would just go to sleep. I would be like, oh, keep talking about beer and then have lovely dreams.
You could.
What was I going to say? I was going to say something. And so do you tend to download that to your tablet, or how do you get it?
I put everything on my little tiny mobile device, which is this thing right here, because, I like minimal technology, so I put it on my phone, and then I listen to it as needed, and then it's nice because, if I need to go out and run an errand at lunchtime or something, I can plug in and get, another 5 minutes or 10 minutes of something. But I sort of always have my phone with me, which means that I can always have interesting things to listen to. And since I'm on an Android, I like Stitcher as my podcasting service, which it lets me get to everything that I've ever been interested in listening to. So all of my regular NPR podcasts and beer things. And I've been able to find the Craft Beer Nation on Stitcher, which is cool.
Yeah. We're on
so
Stitcher.
I have subscription to those feeds. So so I like Stitcher. And my one beef with them is that, and they know it's a beef, and they've told me they're working on it, is that most of the time it just rolls into whatever the next unheard podcast is. So I'll come back, 2 hours later, having removed my headphones, and my phone is still going, and now I don't know how many episodes I've listened to, and where did I stop?
No.
Yeah, I do the same thing because I like to listen to stuff when I'm going to sleep, and so I'll usually pick a podcast that's 20 minutes because if everything's going well, it'll only take me 20 minutes to go to sleep. And so if I try to listen on Stitcher, I wake up in the middle of the night and it's like on BBC World News, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, the heck? What is the BBC World News? What the heck? You know, and I've been having dreams about BBC World News and fighting and all this stuff.
So you should listen to the Basic Brewing podcast because he's got a very soothing voice, and he would just let you sleep the whole night.
And I would have lovely dreams about brewing and drinking beer with him and just sitting on a porch with his relaxing voice.
Yeah, you find out about, you know, the effects of barrel aging and hopping and yeast and all sorts of stuff.
I remember what I was going to say. I'm not a home brewer either, but I like learning about beer because we should know what we're drinking. And so, you know, I like knowing, I'm like, oh, well, this is this kind of hop. This is why this IPA tastes different than this. It's this kind of hop. And, you know, oh, how many IBUs does this have? Oh, that has a lot of IBUs, so I'm going to get trashed. So maybe I shouldn't drink that right now. And little things like that. It helps you make wise decisions about what you drink.
Yeah.
Definitely. Knowledge is good.
Yeah. All right, Kristen, anything else you want to add?
No, that's all I got.
Okay. All right, Vicki, first of all, what are you drinking?
I'm drinking one of my favorite IPAs, fresh squeezed.
Oh, you people and your ability to get Deschutes.
Yeah, it's great. It's actually sold at the little gas station Quick Mart right by my house, so it's very convenient.
Crazy.
Come up to Pennsylvania. We just got it.
Oh,
Oh, wow.
Congratulations.
Yay.
okay.
And
So
by
it just
Pennsylvania, mostly Philadelphia, but, you know.
That's right.
so I like how it just overshot us in the south, Ashley. It
Yes.
just went from the west up to the northeast.
Yes.
Thanks.
Well, Philadelphia has a special relationship with beer people.
Oh, really? They're
Yeah.
special.
It's Philadelphia to be the East Coast distribution point of West Coast beers. So
Yep.
it's a rough life.
It is a rough life.
Rough.
All that history, and you get to run where Rocky ran, up and down the steps. It's just, you've got a good life, Kristen.
For sure.
So, all Deschutes aside.
All right, so Vicki, let's see. You said you were drinking Deschutes, right?
Yep. Deschutes Fresh Squeezed IPA. It's my favorite, one of my favorite IPAs right now. It's nice and fruity and citrusy, and it's not a punch in the face, but it's still good.
Well, for Tuesday evening, you may not want punch in the face.
Exactly.
I have to get up,
Exactly.
and I don't want a bruised face.
Yeah,
Then people ask questions,
for
and
sure.
I'll be like, I swear, a beer punched me in the face. I swear, and then HR will get involved and all the stuff.
Don't want that to happen.
No, we don't want that to happen. Not on a Wednesday. Maybe on a Friday.
Nope.
I-
So I don't really listen to very many podcasts,
okay.
but I do listen to our old Craft Beer Nation ones on Stitcher to catch up on the ones that I missed because I wasn't part of Craft Beer Nation yet. So I've been listening to those. And then the other podcast that I check out from time to time is a local one. It's Tales from the Keg, and it's a discussion just about beer news and what's going on with beer world. And it's it's ESPNTucson.com. So it's really a sports channel, but then they have this this guy from Golden Eagle Distributing. His name is John. He's a Cicerone, and he's a really nice guy. Knows a lot about beer, and he comes on there once in a while to talk about beer, craft beer, what's going on in Tucson, that kind of stuff. So I listen to them once in a while. That's pretty much all I listen to, though.
That's good.
Yep,
Get to
and they
support
did
the local podcast.
exactly, and they did invite us on to talk about Girls Pine Out, so that was kind of nice. That's how I got to know about their podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need to look for that. I found it on their website.
Yeah.
If you go to their website, you can do SoundCloud versions of the podcast and stream it. And I saw with Girls Pine Out, I was like, hey, that's
Yeah.
Vicky.
Yep, that was me. So that was fun. But that's pretty much all of the only podcast I really listen to besides Craft Beer Nation. But I think I'm going to have to check out these brewing ones since I've kind of stuck my toe into the the home brewing pool.
It can be addictive too.
Yeah,
Like you get
I'm
started
afraid
with
of
one
that.
and you do another and another, and you want to buy more equipment, and
Right.
it's a lot of fun. But
So far, I'm just brewing with a friend, so she's got the equipment. But yeah, I can see that it could be a definitely addicting hobby. But I would love to listen to some of these guys talk about stuff because I'm still learning about what is happening in the whole process. So that would be kind of cool.
It is cool, and you get to learn about different things, different events, different parts of the country, and it's just fun. And like, I used to listen to the Brewing Network, Ashley, and they used to have a show with Sean Paxton. Do you remember that show?
yeah, the homebrew chef.
The Homebrew Chef. I loved that. I used to listen to that every week. I loved that show because he was a chef and he would brew with beer.
Right.
Awesome.
Yeah, and he would also talk about.
beer.
Oh, go ahead, and Ashley.
He would cook with beer.
Mhm. And
Yep.
he would pair, talk about what you pair with beer. And he toured. I mean, he's like a big time touring chef. He would have dinners all across the country, and he would talk about what he was serving at the dinners and how you could get tickets and everything. Of course, I wouldn't have the money for that, and I don't know if he ever even came down here, but it was just really cool. And as far as I know, he doesn't do the show for them anymore. I need to look up and see what he's doing nowadays.
I think he's still writing for Brew Your Own magazine,
Okay.
but that's about all I know about. I'm sure he's very busy.
I'm sure he is. I'm sure he's doing his tours, and he probably makes a ton of money doing that. Instead of spending his time making podcasts for us to listen to for free, he's actually making money.
But think about it, though. He puts out the podcast, he gets his name out there,
Yeah.
people find out about him, then they go and they pay for his fancy dinners, and they buy his book, and, so.
It works.
It does.
Yeah. I mean, that's how I know who he is.
Exactly.
Otherwise, I probably wouldn't know.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sure it got him quite a bit of business. And who
Another
knows?
thing is the Brewing Network just launched their very first little beer bar / studio.
Really?
Yeah, it's called the Hop Grenade, and it's in, I don't want to get it wrong, I think it's Concord, California.
Oh.
It definitely starts with a C, and it's like, 30 minutes east of Berkeley-ish, sort of, kind of, not exactly California geographer, but...
That sounds like a cool adventure.
Yeah, I'm totally going next time I'm out there.
So it's like a little bar? What are they doing?
Yeah, it's called the Hop Grenade, and it's a tap room / studio. So they're going to do all their podcasts there, and then they're going to have beer to serve.
How cool.
Can you go in as the public and listen to them do their podcast?
I think so. I think they're going to have a studio, and it's kind of like all, glassed off, so it doesn't get any sound in while they're doing it, but people can come and have a bar and, kind of giggle at them through the glass or something.
So it's like going to the zoo.
Yeah. Your podcaster zoo.
But you get to drink.
Yeah.
And unlike the real zoo, you probably won't get eaten if you fall into the pit. So
Right.
which is
Right.
a bonus. So you
For
won't
sure.
Yeah. And you won't get poop on you, hopefully. And I don't
In
know
theory.
these people. I mean, maybe they do poop on people. I don't know.
They were talking about a special handshake the last episode of the Sunday session I was streaming that involved poop, so it's entirely possible.
All right. So maybe it really is like the zoo. It's just like the zoo.
For the record, I've never, there have been no discussions of bodily functions on any beer podcasts that I've So for anyone who's listening or watching, there are podcasts that don't discuss bodily functions. If this one isn't to your liking, we mentioned plenty of others. But please do come back and hang out with us again at the Craft Beer Nation. We're not always like this.
And that's fine. I mean, you have your more, down to earth kind of streamlined shows, but then you have shows where they talk about pooping and peeing and all that other stuff. And I think that just adds character.
I have to say the Brewing Network brings it up quite a bit.
You know what? It's part of life, and if we can't laugh at pooping, what can we laugh at? All right, well, I'll go ahead and finish this out with what I was going to talk about.
Cool.
I've been watching this YouTube video show for about a year now. This guy cracks me up. It's not a professional podcast. You know, I don't know if he brews or not, but, you know, it's not like a commercial type podcast or anything. It's this guy in front of a bunch of glasses who videotapes himself doing beer reviews. His name is Greg Puckett, and the name of the show is Greg's Beer Reviews. And he just cracks me up because he's this older man. He's like a Harley Davidson guy, because you can even see like his Harley Davidson stuff around him. And he's got like a long ZZ Top beard, and he just sits there in his shirt says Greg's Beer Reviews, and he's got even an opener that says Greg's Beer Review, and he just sits there. He's like, well, let's see what's in the fridge today. We gonna go, and then he actually films himself opening up the fridge, and you see all his beer. And of course, I'm jealous because he's got like the breakfast stout. He's got a bunch of stuff that I want. But he just says, "Let's see what's in the fridge today," and then he sits down. He's like, "I got me a Kentucky breakfast stout, and this is one of the best beers I've had. Let's take a whiff." And I just love it. It's just all like that. That's how he does it. And it just cracks me up. He's so funny. And, I mean, it's not like he's not dumping a bunch of knowledge in your head. It's just something to watch when you're supposed to be doing other stuff. And you're just kind of, you know, looking. You got 8 minutes to spare. And you're like, oh, I'm just going to watch one of these. It's really fun.
Cool.
Very fun.
All right, well, we are just about at 10 o'clock. We can wrap this up. Anyone else have anything to add?
What were you drinking tonight? Did you say?
Oh,
She didn't say.
I didn't say because I was thinking about Greg's Beer Reviews and how funny they are. I am drinking Founder Centennial IPA.
Ooh.
Very nice.
In a can.
Yep, I like this. The little bottle shop I like to go to, they have so much stuff that I don't see at Total Wine. They got a bunch of stuff in cans. They've got, like, instead of bombers, they've got, like, the 12-ounce, the regular size things, because I'm getting tired of just getting bombers because I can't drink them all at one time, or I shouldn't anyways. And so this little bottle shop, it has, like, regular size, and that makes me so happy because I can drink that on a Tuesday night without worrying about having a headache in the morning or waking up next to a half-drink, you know, glass of beer and cussing myself out for wasting beer.
No, it's nice if you're not sharing to not have to have bombers all the time.
Exactly.
And I'm the only one in this household who drinks beer, so the cats don't, thank goodness. They haven't gotten the habit from me. So
I can't get my basset hound to do it. I don't know why.
I know, you would think they would love it. One of my cats that passed a few years ago, he would lick the rim of my beer glass.
No.
It was so cute.
That's a good kitty-sized portion, too.
I know. His name was Chester, and he would just sit there and just lick it. And I knew I shouldn't let him, but I would just look at him, and I would be like, "You're so cute." And then I grabbed the bottle, and I'd be like, "Mine." Get away, mine. So, but yeah, other cats don't do it, unfortunately.
I understand.
Unfortunately.
Well,
All right.
It's been lovely tonight.
It has been very wonderful. So we're going to go out from Craft Beer Nation. I'd like to say cheers to everybody.
Yes. Cheers.
Cheers.